Leadership, a word that is so simple, but yet so complex to define. To me, it has always been about people, about finding ways to inspire others to rise to the occasion. Even though when circumstances are tough, paths are uncertain, and the stakes are incredibly high. One of the most defined moments in my leadership journey came when I was unexpectedly thrust into this dual management technical role. I was managing a group of engineers developing cell and gene therapy equipment, many of who were significantly older than me and more experienced. It was a critical juncture. Our previous manager had just left, and our product was facing very complex roadblocks. Our validation was failing, and our team morale was an all time low. We had missed several key milestones, and we were months behind schedule. On paper, this situation wasn't ideal. It was destined to fail. Yet, I chose to lean into the challenge. Not because I knew what I was doing or fully prepared, but because I believed in myself. I believed I could bring something deeply authentic, a genuine commitment to serve others, to connect, and to drive purposeful change. As a Latino, I was and raised by a single mother. I always believed that leading with the heart is the fastest and most effective way of connecting. I knew that before we could move on forward with the team, we needed to rebuild trust. And trust can only be built and rebuilt through vulnerability and consistency. So I started there by connecting on a human level. I had one on one conversations with every team member. I asked questions and I listened. I listened purposefully to understand, not to provide solutions or ways to solve problems. I shared my own fears, my uncertainties, and my hopes. I made it very clear that this wasn't about hierarchy, it wasn't about management and getting up top. It was about the connection, the trust, the shared goals, and the mutual respect. Once trust began to be rebuilt, I focused on the structure and ownership. One of our biggest issues was accountability. Tasks were slipping, deadlines were being missed repeatedly. We had no rhythm, we had no alignment. I decided to implement a daily management system where each team member would commit to deliverables over a 4 week period, tracking them visually on project boards through sticky notes. Yes, sticky notes. Simple methods and in person meetings made a big impact. However, change is not always welcomed, and adjustments and compromises had to be made during this implementation. We clarified roles using pitcher catcher mindset, focusing on handoffs, bottlenecks, but overall priorities. This helped us move from a reactive firefighting to a proactive collaboration. And as a result, things started to move forward. Within 6 months, we stabilized our roadmap and we restored confidence in our leadership team because we were delivering on a cadence without any slips or delays. But perhaps one of the most important evolutions in my leadership experience was shifting from being an independent contributor and problem solver to being a guide, an enabler as a manager. Before this, I used to just jump right into the answer, give the best, brightest idea, or maybe a solution. But this has taught me that now we need to build consensus. We need to hear everybody's voice, delegate with authority, and even coach through challenges, not to overwrite them. That shift not only strengthened our team capabilities, but also deepened their investment in the mission. Yes, my mission. This mission that is so deeply to me. I work in the area of cell and gene therapy, develop single use equipment that supports the production of life saving cancer treatments. This work isn't just technical, it is profoundly human. I'm often reminded that behind every decision that we take, every piece that we make, every equipment that we assemble and build, there's a patient waiting for hope. That sense of purpose fuels me every day, and it's a key driver in my leadership. I don't just want to manage people, I want to inspire teams to believe in themselves, inspire teams for them to know their work matters. Recently, during a Global R&D Summit in Sweden, I was deeply moved by a talk that shifted my thinking about innovation and leadership. The speaker, Tobias Dexel, challenged us to rethink creativity, not as thinking outside the box, but connecting more deeply within it. Yes, that message stuck with me. In engineering and in leadership alike, we often chase big ideas, bold strategies, big statements. But sometimes the real breakthroughs come from inside, come from connecting more deeply with what and who is already around us. From leveraging diverse perspectives, building meaningful relationships, and groundbreaking decisions with empathy and context. This concept echoes in essence of how I strive to lead, not through abstraction or dictation, but through connection, clarity, and collective strength. Yet, despite my progress, I know that my leadership journey is just beginning. I want to develop the strategic and interdisciplinary thinking needed to influence beyond my immediate team, especially in cross functional global environments. I want to expand my business acumen, enhance my ability to drive transformation, and refine my ability to navigate organizational dynamics and my blind spots. Yes, those that sometimes I miss, such as moments where I unintentionally dominate in conversations or prioritize speed over inclusivity in decision making. This is why the I.E. Brown Executive MBA is the right program for me. It's an interdisciplinary curriculum which bridges the behavioral science, global markets, and entrepreneurial thinking. That aligns perfectly with the next phase of my leadership evolution. The program's global perspective and emphasis on diverse, human centered leadership will allow me to better understand complex systems, sharpen my strategic lens, and ultimately become the kind of leader who not only drives performance, but uplifts people, unlocks potential, and inspires collective purpose. In short, I don't just want to build technologies, I just make a difference in the world that fight cancer. That is my mission, yes. But I want to enable teams, build cultures and organizations that heal, empower, and innovate. That's the kind of leader that I am becoming. That's the kind of leader that I want to be. And that's the kind of leader that I believe the I.E. Brown Executive MBA will help me to become.